So thank you guys so much for joining me on today's session. I'm super excited. We're going to be talking about how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. You know, that's a bold promise. And, you know, some people look at me and they're like, you know, come on, can you really say that? And you know, if you're doing $10 million a year, can you triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right? You know, might be a bit of a stretch, but it's possible because we have worked with companies that have gone from 10 million to 30 million. And we've also seen guys go from, you know, 500,000 to 1.5 million. So it really depends upon where you're at. And this session, this whole presentation is based on real world examples and case studies. So it's not just me talking hypothetically. I'm going to share specific examples of plumbing and HVAC companies just like you that have put the strategies we're going to unpack throughout the course of this session in play and double, triple, and even 10x their sales by getting their internet marketing right. Now, I do want to say I like to keep these sessions as interactive as possible. So I don't want this to be one of those sessions where I talk, you listen, you get bored, you fall asleep, and then, you know, it was a waste of time. I'm going to try and keep it interactive, which means when I ask questions, I want you to, you know, comment to me in the comments box. This is happening live. I'm opening up my kimono, kind of sharing what I've seen work for hundreds of plumbing and HVAC contractors. All I ask is that you kind of engage with me when I ask questions. I'm going to ask a couple people to volunteer throughout the course of the session. So we'll pull up your website, we'll pull up your SEO strategy, we'll pull up kind of some of the things you're doing just to use real live examples as we go. So, you know, be on the ready. If you want to be one of those companies, you know, be prepared. I usually only can do it for the first one or two people that post in comments. So those are the rules of the land. The other thing I'll ask is, you know, let's be present in the moment, right? It's easy to have multiple tabs open, and I'm you know, very guilty of usually having multiple tabs open, you know, Facebook because I comment and I engage with people, email open somewhere else, maybe my messenger on text messages so I can see messages that come in. What I find is when you focus on something, you give it your undivided attention, that's where you get the best value. So I just want to ask you guys, are you guys not seeing my Discover How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right on the screen right now? Because if not, that wouldn't be good. So when I click forward, have you ever wondered what it would be like? Do you see that? Or are you seeing the one with me in the corner? Okay. So you're seeing, have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the dominant presence? Nicole, just answer that. Yes. Okay, good. All right. So we should be good. Thanks, Rob, for the heads up. Hopefully I have the right screen up. So I guess in closing on the kind of setting this up, let's just close out our other windows. Let's be completely focused. Rob, now I get what you're saying. You're saying I'm on monitor 3, and so you're only half paying attention. I get it now. Awesome. So, you know, first of all, I want you to just think, have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a dominant web presence that positioned you as the top plumbing, HVAC, or home services company in your area? Have you ever wondered what it would like to have a flood of prospects calling you on a daily basis because they found you online? And have you ever wondered what it would be like to know that your online marketing strategy is working? So you didn't have to worry about it. You didn't have to feel like you had to meet with new people every single month to reevaluate and kind of rethink things. You just knew, I've got all my systems running in the right direction. I've got key metrics that I'm tracking on a consistent basis, and I can confidently say I've got a good strategy and it's going to serve me well into the future. And if you've ever wondered those things, that's what I want for you. That's really what I want for you to be able to walk away from today's session. And so here's what you're about to discover, a blueprint of the most important online marketing mediums that you should be tapping into for your plumbing or HVAC business. There are lots of different things you could and should be doing. I'm going to kind of draw the big picture and then help you figure out which ones you should be focusing on next. How to get your plumbing or HVAC business ranked on page 1 for the most important keywords in your area. And by page 1, I mean on Google as people are searching. A proven strategy for getting ranked in the Google map listings. How to leverage Google Home Service ads in your area or as they come into your area for maximum effect. And our proven step-by-step strategy for driving more repeat and referral business by leveraging social media. So that's what we have in store. I'm super excited about it. I've been doing this presentation through our book, How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right, for the last couple of years. And you know, this is brand new, completely updated for this year. And things are constantly changing, so I'm excited to share some of these new ideas. Now, real quick, I promise I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but who am I and why should you listen, right? Because there's lots of people that talk about internet marketing. I will say I'm the author of How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right. I'm actively involved. I'm associate member of PHCC, QSC, Nexstar, Service Roundtable, ACCA. I've spoken at a lot of the industry events across the country. My articles on internet marketing, if you've seen them, have been published in like Contractor Magazine, HVAC Insider, Plumbing and Mechanical. But I'd say more important than any of that stuff is that I've had the opportunity to work with, at this point, hundreds of plumbing and HVAC contractors in some of the most competitive markets in the United States, and have been able to see many of them go from like no placement online to the point where they're now the dominant player in their market. Lots of them getting hundreds and hundreds of calls every single month via the internet. So what I'm going to share with you, again, is not based on theory. It's not based on hypothesis. It's really based on my experience with companies just like yours, implementing these strategies, getting the results, making the necessary tweaks and adjustments, and really taking advantage of the internet marketing opportunity as a whole. And this is what we do here at Plumbing and HVAC SEO. I've got a team here in my office of 30 full-time employees, and we implement these strategies for plumbing and HVAC contractors. Like, we build the websites, we do the SEO, we run the paid search. We're extremely passionate about it. And so this is not just a sales pitch for our services, but if as you kind of go through this process, you see, there may be an opportunity to have our team do this for you and execute it at the highest level possible. If that's of interest to you, we'd love the opportunity to talk. We'd love the opportunity to kind of see what that might look like and how we might be able to help you generate more results, better results from your internet marketing in your plumbing or HVAC business. So that said, let's dive right in, right? Let's talk about the specifics on how you can triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. And I want to start with a case study. So like I said, it's one thing to hear kind of how things work. It's always different though to kind of hear a real world example. So I want to use the example of Schuler Services. They're a plumbing company based in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They've been in business for quite some time. The company is now owned by Greg Joyce, but before that it was owned by his dad, Jim Joyce. And Jim Joyce ran the company since the 1980s, built it up to about $1.5 million in revenue, like 1.3 million. And then Greg bought it. Greg took it over. And, as they were running the company and they were trying to grow it and kind of expand it beyond that, $1 million mark, they tried a couple things to grow their business. Initially, the foundation of their marketing strategy was Yellow Pages. They had a double truck ad in the Yellow Pages, and that's where most of their business came from. They were aggressive in the Yellow Pages. They paid the big bill, and that got them in front of their ideal customers. It got their phones ringing, and that was the lion's share of their business back in the 1980s, 1990s. How many of you guys, I hear a couple of people in comments saying there might be a sound issue, so I apologize for that. But if you can, just post in comments, was Yellow Pages a big play for you back in the day? Like, was it one of the main strategies for generating business? He says yes. And some of you are still in the Yellow Pages because Yellow Pages is still effective in some markets. Rob says totally, absolutely. So this was their play, right? But somewhere around the 1990s, like 1993, 1994, they noticed the lead flow that they were getting via the Yellow Pages kind of dropped off, right? It's like, whoa, we're going to have a slowdown here. And so it begged the question was, where did the customers go? If they weren't looking in the Yellow Pages anymore, they had to be looking somewhere. And so, where were they looking? Well, what they realized, probably like most of you guys have, and I'm not sharing anything brand new in this piece of the presentation, but they realized that the customers had shifted online. Statistics tell us 97% of consumers go to the internet. They go to Google, they go to Angie's List, they go to Facebook, they go to, one of the myriad of online marketing properties at some level when they're looking for plumbing or HVAC home service related services. And so that's what they realized. The customers had shifted online. They were going to Google, they were going to Yahoo, they were going to Angie's List, they were going to City Search. And so they realized they needed to come up with a strategy to own the internet. They needed to make, just like they were the double truck guy in the Yellow Pages, they needed that same presence or at least that they perceived they needed that same presence on the internet. And so that's the question really that you have, that all of us have, is how do we own the internet in our backyard, in the area that we serve, for anybody looking for our home service related key terms? And so they tried a couple different things. So the first thing that they did was they tried the Yellow Pages, right? So the Yellow Page rep that had always kind of served them well, never really loved the Yellow Page rep, but the Yellow Page rep took them to lunch, got them signed up, generated leads. And so when that Yellow Page rep came in and said, hey, yes, your customers have moved online, we've moved online as well, and we can get you online, right? So they signed up with the Yellow Pages, and Yellow Pages came in, they set them up with a website, they got them on yp.com, and went a couple months, and it just didn't work, right? They weren't generating a lot of leads, they weren't generating a lot of calls. Actually, they weren't even really replacing the revenue they lost from the heydays in the double truck ads. And so the issue with this strategy was that, yes, Yellow Pages did get them online, and Yellow Pages did get them on YP, but they were missing a massive opportunity. First of all, it wasn't showing up in the major places that their customers were looking. It wasn't showing up on Google. It wasn't showing up on Angie's List. It wasn't showing up in the organic listings. So it was only like the 5 or 10% of people at the time that were actually going directly to yp.com where they were showing up. And so this strategy fell flat. The other reason, though, was that their website, even when somebody got to it, was very generic. It wasn't something that made them stand out versus the competition. It wasn't something that made people want to choose them. And so it wasn't really built to convert. I don't know how many of you guys experienced that. Like you were excited about the Yellow Pages at one point. You've probably been excited about a lot of people, but you kind of signed up with them. You got something going, but it wasn't everything that it was cracked up to be. I'd love to hear from you guys, any of you that had that experience in the comments box. Robert says that's exactly what happened for me. Albert says he was never big, but still used the Yellow Pages in his market. Albert, thanks for joining us. So their next course of attack was, okay, Yellow Pages didn't work. What else is it, right? What else can we do? And so they went to the well, and they looked at the internet marketing companies on the marketplace. And one of the big pay-per-click management companies came in. It might have been Yodel. It might have been Reach Local. And their play was all paid search, right? They were like, okay, look, we're going to get you up into paid listings. That way we can guarantee you're on page 1 in the first couple of days. We're going to put some really cool call tracking in place so you can track and see how many calls come in. And your phone, it's just going to ring, right? It's going to ring off the hook. Business is going to be great. And so Greg and Jim said, boom, let's do it. Let's sign up with these guys. And so, they did tap into the website, right? And they had the similar website that YP had rolled out for them, very generic. But they did start to get them up into paid listings. And you guys are all familiar with the paid listings, right? I don't think I need to unpack that for you, but if you do, put in comments, help me understand the difference between the paid and the organic. So they were showing up in paid, and the phone did start to ring, right? They were spending, I think it was $5,000 a month was their paid budget, and the phone did start to ring. The challenge, though, was no matter how much they spent, they started at $2K, and then went to $3K, and then went to $5K, they generated about enough calls to break even. So if they spent $3,000, they generated a couple calls, and it broke even on the $3,000. It wasn't enough to really scale. It wasn't something they could grow. Didn't do what their Yellow Pages had done in the past, but it did something. And really the problem with this approach was that while they were showing up at the paid listings, they weren't showing up in the non-paid listings where the lion's share of people click. And their website was still the website the Yellow Pages had rolled out. So it was a very generic, very basic website, didn't really make them stand out, didn't give any reason for someone to choose them versus the competition. And so, they were back to the drawing board. Like they had a little bit of progress, but really not much. So what did they need to do in order to get the internet marketing right? So really, ultimately, they needed to make sure they were showing up and ranking for the plumbing-related keywords in their area, in the paid listings and the organic listings. And they needed a website that would convert visitors to callers at the highest level possible. Really, that's the formula. You get that right. You start ranking and showing up where your customers are looking, and then you have a website that makes them want to choose you versus the competition. And it really started to change the game. So we did some things, right? We rolled out an updated version of their site that really position them as the experts, right? Like very professional, very personality based, good messaging that made people want to choose them versus the competition. We optimized the website. I'm going to be unpacking exactly what you need to do with your website, how you need to optimize your website. So this is where we're headed. But they started to rank, right? They started ranking not in the organic list, not only in the paid listings, but in the organic listings, right? Like on the maps, in the organic results. And what happened was they really started to see an increase in the lead flow via the internet. And so I'm going to unpack this digital dominance method as we go. And they started to do a lot of this stuff, right? They did SEO. They did some pay-per-click. They started leveraging paid retargeting and some directory listings. But the result, really, this is what we're after in terms of this in this case study. So at the end of the experience, going back to 2013, there were about 395 organic or total visitors to their website per month, generating about 27 calls. Fast forward to 2017, I'm going to show you like really where we're at in 2018. This was actually 2015. They had 1,900 visitors and 228 calls. So that's an 8-time increase in the number of leads, the number of sales, the number of opportunity, the amount of opportunity for their business. And this is based on how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. I'm going to unpack this further as we go, but this is an exact example of like get your internet marketing right, roll out the right strategy. You can see an exponential increase in the amount of leads and the amount of sales that you get via the internet. So fast forward to 2018, 497 leads via the internet on a $7,871 investment. So if you take that investment, you divide it by 479 leads, it's about $16 per lead. Really good. I can tell you that when you get your internet marketing right, and you've got a great strategy, $16 per lead is pretty good. And you can generate great return on investment and scale a campaign at that level. And they started generating leads from a lot of different sources, right? So 178 via organic, 177 via paid search, 91 via Google Maps, 33 web forms for a total of 479 leads. So I'd love to hear from you, how would you like to generate 400 plus leads every month via the internet? And how would you like to be able to average about $16 per lead? I'm not promising that's possible for everybody. They're in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It differs depending upon your market. But, this is just a good case study of what can happen. Really what happened for them was they were able to grow from 1.7 million in 2012 to 3.5 million in 2017. And I really believe they're on pace for over 4 million this year, 2018. They expanded from 16 guys to 23 guys. And most importantly, they have confidence, right? They know they've got a great internet marketing strategy. They're showing up where their customers are growing, and they've got a scalable model, right? There's very specific levers they can turn in order to increase their lead flow, in order to keep their guys busy, in order to scale, in order to add new trucks and add new techs. So imagine what it would be like for you. And that's really what we want to start thinking about is like, what would it mean to you if you had a scalable internet marketing strategy? If you knew you could generate, hundreds of internet marketing leads on demand that are converting at a very high level. So let's get busy now, right? It's fun to talk case studies. It's fun to hear what's worked for others. Really what I want to do now is apply this to your business. So I sent this out in advance. It's a worksheet. It's the Get Your Internet Marketing Right worksheet. I promise this session is not just about me talking and you listening. It's about you working through this with me live and walking away with a very clear action plan on what you can change tomorrow with your internet marketing strategy to start to see a significant increase in your online presence, the amount of leads that you generate, and more importantly, the revenue growth within your business. So you can get that at plumberseo.net/handout if you haven't downloaded it all already. I've also posted it in the comments box for you. Let me go ahead and put that in there as well, because I think it's that important that you get this. This document. All right, so let's work this worksheet. I'm going to grab a pen. I encourage you guys all to do the same. And really the first question on the worksheet is, do you have a website? If you're on this webinar, I'm pretty confident you have a website. Right? Back in 1990, people didn't have websites. You all have websites, so you can check that one off and kind of give yourself a pat on the back. The second question, though, is a little more complicated and is, is your company ranking for the plumbing and HVAC related key terms in your area? And this one's a little bit more challenging, right? Really, when I say is it ranking, I mean that in two things. First of all, is it ranking in the organic non-paid listings? So we've got the paid listings at the top, the map listings right above, and then the organic listings below that. And just for a sec, I'm going to pull up a regular browser here so you guys can get a visual of what I'm talking about. Make sure we're all on the same page. So if I go to Google and I type in Allentown Plumber, right now what we have is the Google paid, Google local service ads at the top. We've got the pay-per-click listings below that, and then we've got the organic listings. So the map listing and the organic listing. And really when I say, is your company showing up for the most important key terms in your area, I'm really talking about that organic and Google Map listing area. And I'm going to kind of unpack why that's important and why that's a great place to start. Why is it not playing? Hold on. Any questions on the difference between the paid and the organic listings while I get my monitors to do what I want them to do? I might not be able to toggle between slideshow. A couple citation questions in here. I'll come to those at the end. I don't want to get too detailed for some people that are in a different place on this stuff. Let me do this. So is your website ranking for the plumbing, HVAC, home service related terms in your area? And in order to answer that question, really, you need to do some research, right? And you need to not just think, are you ranking for plumber or plumbing? You really want to think about all the different things people type in when they need your plumbing related services, right? So they're not just typing plumber, for instance, for you guys that are plumbing. They're typing in plumber, plumbing, water heaters, bathroom remodeling, tankless water heaters, leak detection, drain cleaning, sump pump repair, trenchless sewer replacement. The list goes on and on. This is actually a list of the most commonly searched plumbing related terms. And you want to make sure that you're showing up for those terms in the city that you serve, right? So you really want to either manually run those searches or have somebody like us run a report for you. And we can run a report. Well, basically what we'll do is we'll put together a keyword list of all of the main services combined with the cities that you operate in. So your main city and probably like 5 or 6 of the surrounding towns, and then run a report for you that will show you exactly where you're ranking on Google and Yahoo and Bing so that you can tell, right? Awareness precedes change, right? You can't change something that you don't know there's an issue. So maybe you rank for everything, and running a report like this would just be affirmation. Good, our SEO is good. But maybe there's opportunity for ranking much better. And so that's the first step here is, does your website rank for the most important key terms? And you need to know that. And so at the end, or if you want, just send me an email. Say, yes, I'd like to have you run that keyword report for me. We will run that keyword report. We'll go through your website and show you what you need to do, what you need to change in order to rank better. But again, you have to know, good, bad, or indifferent, how you're doing on that front. And the same thing for HVAC, right? There's a lot of different keywords, not just AC repair and heating repair. People might type in air conditioners, furnace, air conditioning units, heating and cooling, indoor air quality. The list goes on and on. So you really want to be clear, what are the different keywords, and are you ranking in the non-paid listings for those keywords in your service area? So that's the first step here. Are you ranking for the most important keywords in your area? The next step is, is your website properly optimized for those different keywords? And since my slides are glitching on me here a little bit, I'm just going to pull this up live. So hold on one sec. So what, like when I say, is your website properly optimized for search? Let's just pull up Schuler as an example, and then we'll use one of you guys as an example as well. Really, there's a couple things that come to mind for me. First of all is your title tag. That's one of the first things Google looks at to determine what your website's all about. So do you have your keyword, like your city plus the main thing you do, plumbing, AC repair, heating repair? Do you have that in your title tag? Oftentimes I see like the name of the company, Tom Jones Plumbing or Tom Jones HVAC. The fact is you want your main keyword up there in the title tag. You want it in the H1 tag. So do you have your keyword somewhere in the H1 tag? Do you have pages for all the different services that you provide? So if you're going to rank for drain cleaning, water heater repair, trenchless sewer replacement, you need pages for each of those services. So, you know, for instance, here we've got a drain cleaning page. We've got a clogged toilet repair page. You want pages for each of those services that also are kind of optimized, right? With the title tag, the H1 tag, you know, good, unique content throughout the page. And so that's the, you know, the next thing from an SEO perspective. Do you have the title, the keyword in the title and the H1? Do you have pages for each of your services? And then within plumbing and HVAC, do you have pages for the cities in your service area? So if we go to, you know, Allentown, in and around Allentown, there's lots of little cities and towns. There's Easton, there's Bethlehem, there's Macungie, there's Emmaus, right? And so if you want to rank for plumber or for HVAC or for heating repair in each of those towns, really you want a page for each one of those services. So for instance, we've got a Macungie page, right? Macungie plumber, Macungie plumbing, good unique content. And that's kind of the gotcha I see with most plumbing HVAC companies that have done this, right? They decided, okay, we're going to create city pages, or they hired someone to create city pages, but they've got duplicate content on all of those city pages. So they just basically cloned it and changed the city. Well, Google looks at that as duplicate content. So if you're going to do this, if you're going to create pages for each of your cities, pages for each of your services, make sure that the content is different from one page to the next on your website. So really, that's from a 80-20 principle perspective, right? The 20% of activities that generate 80% of the results. You have to have the right fundamentals, right? Title tag, H1 tag, pages for the services, pages for the cities. You can look at your website as someone that knows nothing about SEO and say, okay, do I have these fundamentals in place? And I find that it's a big part of the effort, right? If you've got those fundamentals right, you're going to start to rank better for the most important plumbing and HVAC related keywords in your market. So I'd love to use one of you guys as an example. Like if you're open to it, put in your website address. I'll pull it up real quick. Knowing what you know now and what the rest of us on the call know now, we can look at it and say, okay, does it have these fundamentals? Yes or no? And I find that when we do an example like that, it really helps to make things concise. All right, so Mark, Lindsay Plumbing, Nicole is volunteering her site, so let's pull this up. Most of the people that volunteer have things pretty good. All right, so we're going to talk about, you know, how well the website is optimized for conversion in a little bit. I think obviously this is a nice site from a conversion perspective. We've got the phone number, we got a video. So let's look at the on page, right? The title tag, the H1 tag, the content on the page itself. So this looks pretty good, Nicole, but I'll say, like, let's look at the title. The title tag says, Mark Lindsay Plumbing, proudly serving Newfoundland and surrounding areas. New Jersey's tough because there's so many little cities and so many little towns, unlike, you know, Allentown or Little Rock, Arkansas, or something where you can really anchor on one city. It's a little bit more complicated. Usually I like to see the city up in the title tag, and then I like to see this H1 have a city other than, you know, Northern New Jersey is pretty broad, where if you can get specific with the main city that you're targeting, that tends to work really well. But I don't know who did this. It looks like it's pretty well done. And it looks like they've just, in order to be able to rank the homepage for more broad terms, they haven't anchored in on one particular city or town. It looks like good content, information about the different services, some reviews. Let's look at, so we got pages for most of the services. So under plumbing, we got pages for these plumbing services. Let's Let's see if we've got any city pages anywhere here usually. Okay, so we got pages for the cities. So I would say this is pretty good, right? We got pages for the main services, pages for the main cities, and we've got city pages that are specifically targeting the sub-cities and sub-towns. So Nicole, thanks for volunteering. For those of you watching, hopefully this helped to kind of give you perspective so you can look at your site. If there's an HVAC company on here that wants to volunteer, I'd love to pull you up. That way the HVAC companies on the line don't feel like they're getting left out. So if you want to volunteer your site real quick, we can pull this up. We can dive into it. Come on, there's a big group. I know I have an HVAC company that'd like to have their website reviewed. Anybody? Bueller? Okay, thank you, Earl. Chuck Hall put his in. 795 Earl. Okay, so thank you for volunteering, and thank you for not being an amazingly optimized website, because it gives me an opportunity to show kind of the good and the bad, right? So this site obviously is not nearly as well optimized. So we get a very basic, flat homepage. There's no text on the site, so we want more text in order for Google to really bring it in for the most important key terms. If we look at the title tag, it says Earl's Plumbing, Heating, and Air. So it doesn't say, it looks like you're in Lovelock. It doesn't say Lovelock Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, then Earl's Plumbing. So that would be better to kind of have your keyword in the title, and then in the H1, like there's no content at all. So while this may rank for one key term, it's not going to rank for a lot of different key terms, just based on the way that this homepage is structured. The other thing is, really to rank well on Google Maps, we need the name, address, number. So we do have that here. Yeah. So let's look at services. We have plumbing, HVAC. So like kind of the broad services, but ideally we'd like to have a page for the main plumbing. So within plumbing, we've got drain cleaning, we've got water heaters, we've got emergency plumbing. So all we really have on this site is plumbing. And the title says Earl's Plumbing, residential plumbing service. No geo modifier, which would be the city. Not a lot of geo modified content, and not very content rich. So I really appreciate you volunteering your site. That there's a lot that you can do here, right? You can create pages for the services, you can create pages for the cities, you can be a lot more specific in the titles and the H1s, like what you're targeting, so that Google knows, okay, this site is built around these keywords, and so with some authority, some links we'll talk about in a second, it can start to rank for all of those different keyword combinations. So awesome. Chuck, thanks for volunteering your site. Hopefully that was helpful. Chuck, was that helpful at all? I mean, now I'm getting a bunch of people posting that they want feedback, and I'd love to do it, but we got a lot to cover. So let's stop there. Hopefully that gives you guys some context. It's like what I mean, how to optimize your website, how to look at your website and say, okay, good. I've got pretty nice on-page optimization. I've got the fundamentals in place, or it looks like I need some room for improvement. Again, if you want to reach out to us, we'll do a complete evaluation on that for you one-on-one and help you see whether there's room for improvement on that front. I really want to show this slide because I want to dive into an SEO case study. So let me do this. Just do something real quick. Let's stop my share. So you guys should just be seeing my face now. And then I'm going to share a different screen. That way you guys should be able to see my slides. So let's do this one. All right, so you guys, can somebody just real quick put in, I see your screen now, and it should be the presentation, presentation slides. See it? Okay, great. So we talked about titles, H1s, content for the pages, and services. So I want to do an SEO case study now. So now let's look at a company called the Meridian Advantage. They're a plumbing, HVAC, electrical remodeling company based in East Lansing, Michigan. And when we started working with them, they just weren't ranking well for the keywords in their area. You know, it was a very generic website, didn't have the pages, didn't have the service pages, didn't have the on-page optimization, didn't have some of the authority development that I'm going to be talking about as we go. We were able to get them ranked, right? And that's kind of the result. What does it mean when you rank? We were able to get them ranked for East Lansing Plumber, East Lansing Plumbing, East Lansing AC Repair. And the result has been, this is January. They had 495 leads via the internet on a $6,000 spend. Average cost per lead, $12. Another great low cost per lead in a secondary market, right? I mean, it's great in these populations between 100,000 and 200,000 people. And you can see here, organically, just from their organic rankings and their Google Map rankings, they had 208 of those came from SEO. So people say, like, does SEO even matter? Does it matter if you rank organically? Absolutely it does. Yes, Google Home Services is there. Yes, pay-per-click is there. But the vast majority of people still scroll down and they click on the organic listings. So you want to make sure you've got a strong organic play. And you can see in this case, 150 leads via Google Maps and 208 via organic. So this company is actually based out of East Lansing, Michigan. So Jason was asking about if they were in Boston. I think you're thinking maybe of a different company. So yeah, those are just to kind of go back there. So that's 308 of the 358 leads from organic SEO. So it's worth the time and the energy to think about the keywords, to think about the on-page optimization, and make sure that you've got a great play. If you divide this out for what they invest in just the SEO management type stuff, it's only $8.21. And it's really where a vast majority of their leads from the internet come from. So really, I want you to kind of spend some time introspectively. Don't jump off to a different browser and do this right now, but kind of go through this. You know, do you have the basic fundamentals of on-page optimization in place? And if not, this might be something to spend some time focusing on, right? It might be something to, you know, either get with someone like us or just look at it on your own and see, like, do I have pages for this stuff? Do I have these things in place? So Faye is asking, does it include ad spend? So if we kind of look at this report, the way we structure it, this includes ad spend. This is our total, what they pay us, and the ad spend to Google AdWords. And we'll be talking about paid ads in a minute. It averages out to $12.35. The SEO organic stuff really is just our management fee. And this includes, like, in their case, the SEO and the pay-per-click advertising. It doesn't include spend because there's no spend for organic SEO. And so that's where you divide that out and it comes to $8.21. So, okay, good. That answered that question. So, all right. So really, I do want you guys to think about that. You know, how are we optimized? Do you have the optimization in place? If not, this is a great place to go back and make some improvements that can really move the needle in terms of the number of leads and the sales that you're getting via the internet. The next really, really important thing and the really critical piece is your website optimized for conversion, right? You can have, you can really have great rankings. You can have all kinds of paid traffic, but if your website can't convert visitors to callers and make people want to choose you versus the competition, you're not going to generate as many leads as you'd like. So I want to spend a little bit of time, like, looking at your website. What does it take to make sure it's optimized for conversion? Maybe walk away with like 2 or 3 things you can change to improve how effectively your website converts a visitor to a caller. Because ultimately, your website is the hub, right? It's where everybody's going to end up. Whether it came from, you know, they saw one of your trucks, or they heard one of your radio ads, or they clicked on one of your organic or paid listings, eventually they're going to wind up on your website and they're going to make a decision. Do I call these guys or do I not? And if it's not built to convert, you're not going to be able to maximize your lead flow. So, you know, some basic fundamental things you want to have on your website, right? You want to have a phone number in the top right-hand corner. You want to have an easy opportunity for them to schedule with you. You want to leverage authenticity. And this is one of the biggest things that I see missed is people want to use pretty stock photos. Picture of a model, picture of a really handsome guy in a plumbing wrench. That doesn't really resonate with your customer. your customer likes to do business with people they know, like, and trust. They want to like deal with real people. And so if you can put pictures of your team, pictures of the owner, pictures of the real people within the company, pictures of the truck so they get a sense of the scope of the operation, it has a massive impact on conversion. And I've had arguments with people about this. Like, nobody cares. They don't want to see my people. They do, right? People want to do business with real people. So be authentic and put real imagery on your website. Leverage multimedia. One basic thing you can do is have a simple video on your homepage. Hey, welcome to our website. We're full service plumbing, HVAC, electrical company here in the XYZ area. And, these are the problems we solve. This is why people choose us. Give us a call today. And have that be not a stock actor, but the real owner of the company or some major representative of the company. It connects with people. They say if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000, right? So have some authenticity, leverage video and multimedia. Make sure that the messaging on your website, the content on the website speaks to your ideal customer and their problems. I always say, if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. So oftentimes, plumbing HVAC websites are extremely technical, right? They get into, we do this, we do that, we do trenchless, we do indoor air quality, custom thermostats. And your customer, if you really get to the basic of it, they don't care about that. What they care about is their thing's not working and they want it fixed. And they want somebody that's going to answer their phone, that's going to show up on time, it's not going to rip them off, and it's going to stand by their work, right? That's really what they want. So if you can put all of your messaging around that stuff and really speak to their problem and their issues, you're going to win. So, here's an example, right? Honest expert service you deserve. Friendly expert technicians, no hassle up from pricing, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Make sure that your messaging and every element of your website from a conversion perspective speaks to the customer's problem, meets them where they're at, and you'll see a massive bump in your conversion rates. Something we've seen really impact conversion rate is live chat. More and more people, they get to, and I think for this one, I'm going to jump to a real website. That way you can see it live. So let's just pull this up. So let's go to schulerservice.com. So we've got the base elements, right? The messaging that converts, a little bit of multimedia moving, phone number right-hand corner, easy schedule button. And we've got this little chat box that you might have noticed popped up. The fact is, people like to chat, right? If you had the choice to pick up the phone and call somebody or to chat with it, what would be your choice, right? Your choice would inevitably be, I want to text message it. I want to make a phone call about it. I want to, Facebook chat about it, but I don't necessarily want to talk to somebody live about it. And so, this, and you might think it's only for millennials, but this for anybody has really, really been a great way to capture your customers' contact information and convert them into a lead. So, whether it's home service chats, Apex chats, Podium's got a great chat function that ties into text message now. There's lots of great tools for this. Make sure you have chat at some level on your site. And I will say home service chats, which powers a lot of our clients' chats, is great in this industry. And the reason is they understand the plumbing and HVAC trade. They know how to answer questions that are specific to the industry. They're really good at taking people to the bottom of the funnel. Like, they answer the basic questions, they engage with them where they're at. And then when they're ready, they'll do a hot transfer. So they'll get the person on the phone and connect them with someone at your office. And when we put this in place, we found a lot more leads that converted coming in on a daily, weekly basis for most of our clients. So, this is one of the cool new things that is out that's really working well. And let's see, Rob's saying home service chats has worked great for us. Somebody's making a comment about how many emails I have. Yeah, I got a lot of emails that I get. I send a lot of emails too, in case you didn't notice. So if you don't have chat, this is a big opportunity. I want you to mark it down on your site. This is something that can really, really impact conversion rates. So there's a lot of different things, the basic fundamentals: phone number, top right-hand corner, multimedia, web form, meet people where they're at and chat with them. I would love to have one of you guys volunteer your website. That way I can pull this up and we can look at it. Is it really optimized for conversion? Because it's so important that your website's built to convert. I'm going to pull up one of our new launches, Valley Plumbing in Utah, one of the clients we work with. Now I got a caching thing on my thing. So Ryan just requested that we pull up his site. So this is Dwayne Blanton Plumbing. And thanks for the plug, Dwayne. You guys are clients. So, I mean, you know, it's easy to say this is like super, super great, right? From a conversion perspective. We've got this multimedia flying in with real authentic imagery. Makes you want to choose these guys versus the competition. Easy schedule button in the top right-hand corner. You know, easy access to the phone numbers. If we've got the website check going right here, we scroll down. We've got the images of the owners, great people, really salt of the earth type people. Another call to action. So yeah, I mean, this is a great example of a website that's built to convert, but kind of a softball for us, Ryan, because we built it, right? Let's pull up Pro Solutions Inc. This is Pro Solutions, Jason Bailey. Let's look at yours. We'll use this as an example. And okay, so this is pretty good right above the fold, right? We've got a phone number in the top right-hand corner. Call us now. We've got imagery of trucks, which I'll say this is good. How do you plus one it? Rather than giving me the back of this dude's head and a bunch of trucks, like show me the people, right? Jason, show me yourself. Show me your team. You know, this is a lot less personal. People want to see faces. They want to see real people. But pretty good. I'm going to say it's really good. Good content here. You know, straight access to the services. Let's see, you know, the basic stuff, right? Award-winning service, emergency service, top notch, clean cut. So pretty good from a conversion perspective. I'd say the biggest thing you can do to really up your conversion game would be to put some more authenticity into these images. So hopefully that helps. It kind of gives you guys some context. You know, what can you do in order to make your website convert better? So I want you to spend a couple minutes on your worksheet. You know, look at the different things, and I'd love to hear in comments on this one. Like, what specifically can and will you do as a function of today's session to improve your website and how well it converts visitors to callers? So I'm going to pause for a sec while you guys answer that question. Jason says he's got a photo shoot coming up with a video shoot in November. Awesome. So that's exactly it, right? Get an idea, take action, implement, and start to get better results. Has this been useful so far? Are you guys getting value from this session? Hopefully, as we go through this, I'm kind of shedding some light on some ideas. Really what I want for you is to be able to walk away with an action plan. And that's what this worksheet's about. What specifically are you going to do in order to get better results? Okay, so Rebecca says, yes, thank you. Awesome. Dave says, great value. Good. Makes me feel good, guys. I know you're live, and so I'm trying to give information. Sometimes I think I get too technical maybe. So if you kind of give me a little bit of affirmation, it makes me feel good, if nothing else. The other thing to really pay attention to is how well your website is optimized for conversion and how well it's optimized for mobile. Fact is, 40+% of your visitors, actually it's getting to be more like 60% in plumbing and HVAC, are coming on mobile devices. So you want to pull up your website and make sure that it's optimized for mobile. By that, really what you want to pay attention to is, does it fit easily within the screen without having to be pinched? Can you click and be connected? So a click to call instead of having to copy and paste a phone number. Massive thing to pay attention to. If your website doesn't fit nicely into a mobile device, that's something you should really pay close attention to. So quick case study on conversion. One of the companies we work with in Fargo, North Dakota is Laney's, and they're full service plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and remodeling. And I've got a little screenshot of their old site, courtesy of archive.org. So this was their website when we started working with them about 2.5 years ago. And we were able to roll out an updated version of the website that's really built to convert based on all the stuff we talked about here. And really what I want to show you is the impact. They went from like without getting any of the paid search or any of the other stuff going, just updating their site because they had a pretty good authority. They went from 55 calls a month to 317 calls a month via the internet. It's a 6-time increase just by optimizing for conversion. So I really want you guys to, put some thought into this. It's worth making sure your website converts because people are getting there anyway from your branding, from everything else that you do. Every minute invested in conversion is time well spent. So moving forward, we've got a good website. It's built to convert. It's optimized to rank for all the different keywords in our area, but it still doesn't rank, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have experienced this. Like, but wait, I did that, right? I created those pages. I did, the city page and the service pages, but I still don't rank for them in my market. And really, it's because having the on-page optimization is really only 20% of the effort. The other 80%, or I guess in this case I put 30%, the other 70% is the authority that your website has. And that authority is really based on how many real relevant links do you have from other websites? How many reviews do you have? How many citations do you have as a company? What's the on-page experience for a customer once they get there? And so for most of you, this is probably the thing that needs the most focus. Right? It's like, yeah, okay, I've got the website, I've got some of this, but nobody's proactively building authority. Nobody's proactively getting links and citations that make my website more relevant, that not only moves it from the third page to the second page to the first page to the top three listings. And so just to make this super practical and hopefully not technical, but super practical, what can you do in order to build your links? Well, if you're a part of the associations, PHCC, Nexstar, Service Roundtable, a lot of times they have a directory with all of their members. You get yourself added with a link back from there. If you refer business, if you're a plumbing company, you refer to an HVAC company, or vice versa, or maybe you're plumbing and HVAC and you refer to a damage restoration company, oftentimes those organizations have, or they always have, their own website. So there's no reason you couldn't link to them and them link to you because you refer to them anyways. Your suppliers, oftentimes you can submit content to, let's say, a Mullen or American Standard. Great way to get yourself on their directory, submit an article or a case study to get a link back. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. We're going to talk about leveraging those for repeat and referral business, but make sure that you're on those profiles. That adds to your authority. If you've got a drain cleaning page, link to the drain cleaning page in social. Doesn't necessarily pass follow links, but it passes more authority and context to that page, which can impact how it ranks. If you're a member of the industry associations, the Chamber of Commerce, usually they have directories, they need content. You can submit content to them. So just some creative thoughts on how you can grab links from a lot of different places to build your authority and to build your context. But one of the most important things you can do from a link building perspective is what I call competitive link acquisition. And really this is what companies like ours do. This is what really authoritative SEO companies do, is they look at your main competitor, right? So who's ranking for your city plumber, your city AC repair, your city indoor air quality? The companies that are at the top are ranking there because they've got a couple things. They've got good on-page optimization. They've got good content. They probably have a little bit of a history, right? That Google's had people click and go to that page and stay and do what would be expected. But they also have links and authority back to that particular page on their site. And so as true search engine optimization professionals, what we do and what you could actually do on your own if you really wanted to is to use tools like Ahrefs, like Majestic SEO to reverse engineer the competition. And we call it competitive link acquisition. And we look at that guy that's in the first spot, the guy in the second spot, the guy in the fifth spot, right? And we can figure out what's their on-page factors, what links do they have, right? And then of those links that they have, which ones can we get, right? They've got a link from the Chamber of Commerce. All right, well, how do we get that link? They've got an article published from the Wall Street Journal, right? How do we get that? They're in this little local directory. How do we get added to that? And so it's a proactive, like chipping away process, not about quantity. It's not about thousands of links. As a matter of fact, thousands of links at this point are counterproductive and will actually hurt your rankings. It's about quality, relevant links that you get pointed back to those particular pages on your site that can move you from the third page to the second page to the first page. So just a little bit of insight on what you can do to really build your authority so that you didn't build a nice website in vain, but you've got a good website that's properly optimized, that has the necessary link juice, the necessary authority to rank on page 1 for the most important keywords in your area. So Faye's saying, what do you mean pass follow links? So that means, there's a tag that Google looks at. It's called follow or no follow on any link. So theoretically, a follow link, the person wants Google to spider that page and it gets passed through as an authoritative link. A no follow link means, yes, they can click it and get there, but if a spider follows it, it wouldn't be able to follow it, so it wouldn't give that authority. So we found that no follow links are actually passing authority at this point anyways, but that's what I meant when I say follow versus no follow. And really the other big thing from an SEO perspective is content, right? You have to be creating good, relevant content on a consistent basis. And by that, I mean, in today's day and age, videos about the different services you provide, articles about why somebody should, go tanked versus tankless. Putting up content on a consistent basis positions you as the authority. And the more relevant content you have in your website pointed back to the main service pages, the better your website's going to rank. And so really, I want you to think about this, right? And again, I really think this might be one of the biggest things for most of you is, are you consistently creating new content, blogging, and creating inbound links on a consistent basis? Do you have somebody that's laser focused on that? On how do we build the authority for our website so that we can move up in the rankings? And if you don't, I want you to put a big circle on that. I want you to check it and say, look, that's something you need to do. You need to either assign somebody on your team, you need to hire a company like ours that can do this for you, because the companies that create good content and that develop authority are the ones that win organically. And the ones that win organically tend to generate the most leads and to generate the best revenue via the internet. So quick SEO case study here. We talked about Schuler Services in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Of course, they rank really well for Allentown Plumber, Allentown Plumbing, Allentown Drain Cleaning, McCungie Drain Cleaning, Water Heater Repair, everything else. Really what I want you to see is that this year, on average, on a monthly basis, 479 leads, and 178 came from organic SEO, 91 from Google Maps. So that's 269 leads directly via the internet. They didn't have to pay to click for that. They didn't have to buy the lead through home service ads. Like, these are directly from organic results. And that's what we've talked about here for the first 45 minutes of our presentation, right? Setting up a good website, getting it ranked organically, putting the authority elements in place to rank for the most important keywords so you can get that organic traffic and have a website that's strong enough to convert those visitors into callers. The other piece from an SEO perspective, from an organic perspective, is to make sure that you're ranked well for Google Maps. Right? We talked a little bit about Google Maps. Fact is, that 3-pack right below the paid listings gets a lot of traction. It gets a lot of clicks. So there's really 3 key elements to getting ranked on Google Maps. The first is to have a claimed and optimized Google My Business listing. And I'm going to encourage all of you that, regardless if you do it yourself, you have a third-party contractor, or you work with an SEO company, make sure you have access to your Google My Business listing. Right? You want to make sure that it's claimed, that the right name, address, phone number's in there, and you've got a strategy for getting reviews, for getting questions asked and answered in Google My Business, and that's something that you're laser focused on. But in order to rank in the 3-pack, really it comes down to claimed and optimized listing, lots of citations or references of your company's name, address, phone number. So being in Axiom, InfoUSA, Angie's List, City Search, with the same consistent name, address, phone number data, so Google can see, look, this is a company that's on Maps, they're referenced in a lot of places the same way, and they've got lots of online reviews, right? We find the companies that have the most real online reviews on sites like Google, like Yelp, Angie's List, tend to rank best in Google Maps. So you want to make sure you have a proactive process to get new reviews from your real customers in your real service area on a very, very consistent basis. So make sure you have some type of review automation process. And listen, I've looked at all of them. I've tried all of them. There's some that are my favorites, and there's some that I like a lot. But really, it's your culture and the way that you set up your company that's going to determine how many reviews you get more than the tool, right? I'll spend a little bit of time talking about the tools, and I'd love to hear from you guys in terms of what tools you use right now. But making sure that your guys are incentivized to provide great service and that you're rewarding what you want, right? You want more reviews, then make sure that as a company, you do a weekly huddle, and you say, hey, Tommy just got this great review, and Johnny just got that great review, and kind of cheer that, and maybe do something to incentivize that behavior. Because I find the companies like Schuler, I was on yesterday with your service, your home services in Tampa, they've got hundreds of reviews over the last couple of months. Laney's, they get tons and tons of reviews. It's not just about the tool, right? It's about the process that they baked into their business, creating a great customer experience, rewarding the behavior when the guys get great reviews, and it becomes a self-fulfilling thing. With that said, I'm a big fan of Nearby Now. It's a great application that your techs would install on their phones as they go about their day in the field. They check in, they type a brief description. It's a great tool for creating local geo-modified content that automatically syncs to the pages on your site, which helps with local SEO, and it can automate a review request. So an email and text message goes out after the service call, thanking the customer for their business, asking them to take a quick sec to write a review. We found that works really well. We've seen lots of reviews generated from that. Another industry favorite, Review Buzz. A lot of people use it. It's a great tool. It's very tied to the technician, works well. And we're hearing a lot, I'm researching a lot about Podium. It was invested in by Google. It's got some cool chat functionality that goes straight to text. So those are a couple to look at. But again, I don't really care as much about the tool that you use. Really what I care about is that you use something. You get a process where an email goes out or a text message goes out after every service call, thanking the customer, giving them a link back to write your review, and then putting the systems in place to incentivize your guys to get reviews and to be proactive with it on a consistent basis. So I would love to hear from you guys in comments, like what are you guys doing to generate reviews? So Malia, the three I just listed were Nearby Now, Review Buzz, and Podium. So Nicole says Service Titan. Service Titan is an awesome tool for tracking, and there's lots of add-ons that plug into Service Titan. Service Titan doesn't actually do the review request type stuff. It plugs into like a Review Buzz or a Podium or one of these other review tools. Jason says he's going to be trying the Canadian version of Birdeye. Cool. That's another tool we use a lot. Thing I like about Birdeye is the aggregation of reviews. So we can automatically pull, here's your Angie's List reviews. Here's your Google reviews. So if we come in to look at the reviews on Blanton, you can see they got 739 reviews pulled from across the internet, and that's what Birdeye does. It kind of pulls those reviews and then spits them out. So there's a 5-star review, there's a 5-star review from Google, and it shows the source. So it makes it very, very authentic, right? So I mean, lots of things to think about from a review perspective. Thank you guys for sharing what you're using. But I really what I want you to do is make sure you're generating reviews because it will impact how you rank on the Google Maps. So some things to think about here, right? Make sure that you've got access to your Google My Business listing. Make sure that it's properly optimized. You've got consistency of your name, address, phone number across the internet. You have a system in place for getting online reviews on a consistent basis. And some cool new things happening with Google on Google My Business. People can ask questions. We find that when you respond to those questions quickly, it helps. When people post a review, when you respond to the review and say, hey, thanks so much for the review, and you engage with the feedback that you get, that gives you a little bit of an edge in terms of how you rank on Google Maps. So, this may be something to really focus on. If you're not ranked on Maps, these are some things to really spend some time thinking about and working on. So quick Google My Business or Google Maps case study. So Landys, we talked about a little bit earlier. We looked at their massive increase in lead flow because of the conversion, right? Just putting a better website, a better converting website in place. We were then able to get them ranked really well, like #1 on Google Maps for almost all of their key terms. And it kind of still staggers me to this day. If you look at their overall strategy, right, $2,400 invested total. They don't do any paid search. 930 leads generated via the internet. They've got a really good brand. They do a lot of advertising via radio and TV. But really what I want you to see is Google Maps. 568 calls directly from Google Maps. So just be aware, like there's people looking there, they're clicking there, they're calling there. You want to be really hyper-focused on getting your Google Map listing down, getting ranked in the 3-pack, which is those top 3 listings in your area, and it can have a really, really big impact. So moving to the next element, it's social media, right? And so some of you guys groan and you're like, oh, social media, really? The fact is your customers, your sphere of influence are on social media. And the way I like to think about social media is it really should be something that can help you drive a lot more repeat and referral business. Because if you can get your real customers, your real sphere of influence to like you on Facebook, to connect with you on LinkedIn, to follow you on Twitter, right, to follow your stuff on Pinterest, then every time you post, you've given them permission to remain top of mind, right? And a lot of times our only communication channel with our customer base and our prospects is the phone, right? And our customers have moved past the phone. You've moved past the phone. Think about how often you send a call to voicemail. I know I do almost all the time. How hard you think before answering a phone call. So their communication channels they're open to right now are text message or Facebook Messenger. Think about how often you get a Facebook Messenger communication, direct mail, believe it or not. And so you want to make sure you've got more than just email and phone to connect with your customers. You want to have other channels. And so you want to be friends with them on Facebook. You want to be putting out content on a consistent basis. So I really want you to think about, do you have social profiles for your company? Most of you do. You should. They should be branded. They should be professional. But you really have to be making sure that you're creating content and posting to that on a consistent basis, and that you've got a strategy for getting your real customers to like you, to subscribe to you, to follow you, so that you can remain top of mind and generate that influx in repeat and referral business. And so this might be something for you to really think about, right? To make sure that you're thinking about social media not just as an activity, but a way to connect with your customer base to generate more repeat and referral business. Email marketing, right? This is a no-brainer for everybody on this session. If you're not collecting the names and email addresses of every prospect and of every customer that you do business with, you're missing a major opportunity. You know, this is the lowest cost way to communicate with your customer and to remain top of mind. So, they're great tools. MailChimp, Constant Contact. I believe I've heard through the grapevine we're strategic partners with Service Titan. I love the platform. I believe they've announced that they're going to be rolling out some type of email marketing platform. Whatever you do, though, make sure that you're collecting those contact details and that you're emailing your customers at least once a month. How many times do we not follow up, right? They call us, they have us come out to do a job, and now we just hope that they remember us. We left a sticker on their water heater, a sticker on their HVAC system. That's not enough, right? You need to make sure that you're communicating. I really recommend sending direct mail to your customers after the service call. I recommend absolutely sending an email blast at least once a month to remain top of mind. So you want to make sure that you've got something in place to remain top of mind and to get that repeat and referral business play. So, this one is, are you leveraging email? This is a no-brainer. If you're not, write this down. This is like the simplest thing you can do. Put an email marketing system in place. Start to email your customers once a month. You'll increase your repeat and referral business. Your cost to do it is practically nothing in comparison to all the other advertising you can do. And it's a great mechanism. So I would say send an email after every service call, thanking them for their business, asking them to write a review. Send an email a couple days later, asking them to like you on Facebook, right? Especially Facebook, if you're active there. And then send out an email newsletter of some sort once a month. Hey, just want to touch base. Here's something cool going on with our company. Here's a special offer for the month, right? Simple, but you're in their inbox. You remain top of mind, and your probability of getting the repeat and referral business is significantly greater. So are you leveraging email marketing? Again, if not, massive opportunity. So I want to connect. We've got a couple key things I want to cover before we close. I know that this session is long. Hopefully it's valuable. I'd love to hear from you guys. Are you getting value from this session? Have you gotten a couple takeaways that you're going to specifically go back and implement? There's always this like pregnant pause. Jason says, you're making me scream. What does that mean? I'm making you scream. David says, definitely. Awesome. I'd like to know what that means. I'm making you scream. Got to fix it all. Yeah, there's lots of room. Brenda says, yes, good. Okay, great. Thank you guys. I appreciate your feedback here. So everything we've talked about to this point is foundational, right? So organic SEO, good website built to convert, social media to drive repeat and referral business. And I think of it like a triangle. Like what I've got here is the triangle. What I find is most plumbing and HVAC companies have this triangle inverted. They've got all of their money and all of their energy invested in paid search. So pay-per-click, paid directories, like really aggressive in things like Angie's List, and in cases in some markets, Yelp, pay-per-click advertising, pay-per-lead, like Google local service ads, but they don't have a good foundation. And they're like, man, I spent all this money and I just barely break even. And the reason is that triangle is inverted. They've invested so much in paid that they've missed the boat. They don't have a good foundation to build on. And I find that when you get your pyramid right, you've got a great website that's built to convert, you're optimized to rank organically on the Google Maps and the organic listings, you get a lot of great traffic, your website converts, and then you start to supercharge that with paid search, Google AdWords, and some of the other things we're going to talk about right now. You can really accelerate your lead flow and get great returns. But if you've got the triangle inverted, you're going to wind up spending money all day and have very little to show for it. So I preface, make sure you've got a strong foundation and then start to take advantage of Google paid advertising. So, one of the best opportunities right now is Google AdWords or Google Ads. They've just recently updated it. And Google local service ads. Google local services rolled out aggressively in most of the major markets across the United States. I promise you they're headed to your market in not too long a time. And so those two are musts. Like if you're doing any type of online advertising, you're not doing Google ads and you're not looking at Google local service ads, you're missing a major opportunity. I'm going to talk about both of those quite a bit. The other that we find to be worthwhile in most markets, Angie's List, being a paid advertiser in the Angie's List can be pretty effective. I know it's going to be 20 to 30% of you that yell at me and say that Angie's is the worst, but our clients that are doing millions of dollars a year, it's worth being in there, right? YP.com, still worth being in some cases, and Yelp.com in certain markets, especially in California, the West Coast. There's a big audience of people in those places. So most people I talk with say, like, I've tried Google AdWords or Google Ads, and I got a bad return, right? I ran ads. I did it through Reach Local. I did it with Scorpion. I did it with somebody, and we spent a lot of money, and we didn't get a great return on investment. And really the reason for that is a failed understanding of the complexity of the plumbing and HVAC industry and a failed understanding of Google AdWords and really the fact that Google wants to serve relevant results. It's not as simple as just having the highest cost per click, right? If you can be super relevant to the keyword that the person typed in, and you can write a text ad that matches that makes somebody want to click and gives you a higher click-through rate, then you're going to have a higher quality score. And so with a higher quality score, you can actually pay less on a per-click basis than the competition and still maintain a top 3 position, which is really top two positions, really where you want to be in Google AdWords if you're going to play correctly. And the other critical element is to make sure that your landing page is relevant to what they typed, right? So it's not just your homepage. It's like if they typed in drain cleaning, they land on a drain cleaning page, and there's a very compelling offer on why they should call you for their drain cleaning job. Or if it was, water heaters, or if it was indoor air quality, or if it was air conditioning repair. To the extent you can have really good landing pages that compel somebody to choose you versus the competition, you can pay less per click, have a higher conversion rate, remain in the top listings, and convert visitors to callers at a higher level. So you monetize it at a much better level. So really something that when done correctly can be really effective. So kind of in synopsis, the recipe for failure with Google AdWords is get all your keywords in one ad group, be really unrelevant, and land everybody on your homepage. Real quick PPC case study, because a lot of you guys have spent it, you've failed, you feel like it's not really something that can monetize. I want to promise you that it can. One of the companies we work with in Indianapolis is Peterman Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. They're in Indianapolis, Indiana, full service company. They were spending a lot of money in Google AdWords for quite some time, not really getting great results. We got into their campaign. We tightened up the ad groups. We tightened up the text ads. So an example here showing up Indianapolis Plumber. We really got aggressive with how we manage the ad groups and the structure of the campaign. Smart landing page, not too complicated, but very congruent with what the customer types. Phone number at top right-hand corner, very specific call to action, web form that they can fill out. And these are some of the actual pay-per-click return on investment. So HVAC and plumbing, $9,000 invested in paid search, 262 leads, average cost per lead of $36. So this is Indianapolis. This isn't like Fargo. This isn't Allentown. This is a mass population market, among the top 20 largest cities in the United States. At $36 per lead, that gives them what I call unlimited scalability, right? They've got good techs that know how to get a good average ticket when they get into the home. They've got good receptionists or good CSRs that can take a lead and book the job. They can monetize that. And when you can monetize and get an average cost per lead, really, I think less than $60 per lead, you have unlimited scalability with Google AdWords, because there are companies in your market, regardless of your market, spending $30,000 and $50,000 per month, right? It exists. There's that much search. There's that much competition. And if you play aggressively and you've got your bids set up correctly, you can really scale. You can scale the amount of clicks. You can scale the amount of calls. And so that's what I like about Google Ads. It's a lever that you can turn for unlimited scalability. Unlike organic SEO, which I love, we're an SEO company, right? And when you rank well, you get lots of traffic. Your lowest cost per lead comes from organic. Your best customers really come from organic traffic. But there's a point where there's nothing else you can do, right? You can always be creating new content. You can always be creating new links. You can always move up the results. But the amount of organic traffic is what it is. With paid search, you can choose the keywords. You can ratchet it up as you need it, and there's almost unlimited scalability. So, I hope that makes sense. Any questions on this paid search concept and really leveraging pay-per-click? Well, Alexi, I'm going to get back to, he's asking how much have we adjusted the budget now that local service ads is active. So I'm going to go to local service ads now, because that's the other big thing that's happening in search. So I'm just going to go and type in San Francisco plumber. So up here at the top, what we have is Google local service ads. I'm sure most of you have seen this at some point. It's coming. It's going to be in every market. And I'm not going to go into long dissertation on this, because I have a whole nother training session you can watch on what local service ads is, how it's charged. But ultimately, you pay on a per-click basis. Google guarantees you have to get some background checks to get added to the program. But it really does work really well. It's something that you need to be ahead of, right? And so if you're not already in like the queue to be added to local service ads in your market, shoot me an email. We'll help get you set up. We'll help get you on the early waiting list. But it's definitely a big deal. So an example here is Zoom Drain, right? They were one of the early people in Philadelphia that we work with to get on local service ads. Here's some data straight into their Service Titan. You can see here 208 leads on a $495 spend with a $21,000 revenue. So good use of dollars, right? If you can spend $5,000 and get 21 grand, that's pretty good. And that's kind of what the average here Cost per lead in any market for local service ads right now is somewhere between $20 and $30 per lead. I gotta double check HVAC how much it is. But so in their case, I'm just showing you a real example. $5,900 in spend, $2,100 in revenue, 353% return on investment. So if you do this right and you're aggressive in your follow-up, local service ads can be extremely effective, and it can be something that you want to be in, because it's hard to beat $20 to $30 per lead. And you're only paying per lead. You're not nebulously spending per click. You're definitely not spending per impression. You're spending every time somebody calls the local service ad phone number. So that's a play you definitely want to be taking advantage of. So on this front, really, the question is, are you taking advantage of these paid advertising channels? Are you running Google AdWords? Have you broken it down the right way with strategic text ads and landing pages? Are you taking advantage of Google local service ads in your market? Have you looked at a paid advertising campaign on Angie's List or Yelp.com? Rob says, when you make millions, you can afford Angie's List advertising costs. Yeah, that might be right. So going back to Alexi's questions, Alexi's asking, how I know when I have changed the budget for Google Ads. So I think what she's asking is, how does this impact your pay-per-click? Because you run a search in San Francisco, there's only 3 companies that show up here, but that's the paid local service ads option. Then you got the pay-per-click. There's a lot less focus on pay-per-click than there is on local service ads. We found that you can still keep, unless you're spending $15,000 or $20,000 a month, you can still keep a pretty aggressive pay-per-click budget and get great results, because the local service ads don't spawn for every single keyword. But I would say local service ads, as long as you have technicians in the field that are not at complete capacity, right? So obviously, if you've got more calls than you can facilitate, ratchet your local service ads down, ratchet your pay-per-click down. But if you got capacity, I would say open this budget as much as you can. Buy every single lead that you can, because the cost per lead is so manageable. As long as you have techs, you could just keep your guys running in the field. So that's my 2 cents on local service ads and how you should adjust your budget for that particular scenario. But since we're here, a good example of this is Magic Plumbing, this company we work with in San Fran. Massively competitive market. You can see here they're up in local service ads. One of the key things as it relates to local service ads is the amount of reviews you have, right? So you want to be getting reviews. You want to be closing your jobs inside the platform. So when you get in local service ads, Google gives you an app and an online platform. You need to be responding like, okay, this call came in, and you need to close out the job. Google wants to give you the lead, but they also want to give you the lead to the people that are actually fulfilling the service. So close the jobs, get the reviews inside the platform. You can see here they're ranking on the map listings right here, and then they've got a page 1 ranking. And really, that's what you want, right? You want to be showing up in all of the places your customers are looking, right? And you want to show up. You want to show up in the local service ads. You want to show up in the paid listings. You want to show up in the organic listings, and you want to show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. Oops. So make sure you're tapping in, right? Don't just rely on organic, right? I'm a big organic believer. I know that's the foundation, but you can't stop there. As you grow, as you scale, you need things that you can control. And paid advertising, you can't control. You can increase your budget for local service ads. You can increase your budget for pay-per-click. You can increase your spend in Angie's List. And that gives you the ability to keep the trucks running and consistently be able to say, okay, now these 5 trucks are at capacity, we can bring the next, because I know I've got enough leads to keep that guy running all day long. Shepard says Jessica says buying reviews is against Google's guideline. Absolutely. I hope I didn't say to buy reviews, or I didn't give that misconception. You want to do great service, get the job, and drive the reviews on Google. All right, so that really takes us full circle, right? With Schuler, this is the digital dominance method, and this is included in your worksheets. This is the big picture of what you can and should be doing to really maximize your lead flow online. you want to have a good website that's built to convert with a strategy to get online reviews, that is ranking well organically, that you're creating links, you're creating citations, you're creating content for. So that's number one. Number two, I think in sequence, you want to tap into paid advertising. So you want to roll out Google AdWords, maybe Bing search a little bit, and then drive paid traffic the right way, where you can spend $1, you can see the return, and you can really know, okay, I'm spending money, but I'm getting a return on my investment. The other thing is make sure you're tapping into retargeting. So we know that they got to our website via paid search or organic. They were looking for a plumber or an HVAC company in your service area. We want to remain top of mind with them, right? We want to close the job. Like 90% of people don't call in, they don't fill in the form. So how do we stay in touch with them? Well, retargeting is just placing a pixel in your browser and then serving banner ads as they browse the internet. And if you want a specific example of this, go to plumberseo.net, and then you'll see my face all over the internet, right? You'll see me on Facebook with an advertisement offering you a free copy of my book. You'll see an advertisement kind of in your browser as you're browsing the internet. That's retargeting. And that's what you want to do with your customers, right? You want to, when they get to that water heater page, you want to start serving them water heater coupons and offers, right? Remain top of mind. And we find that if we can get them back to the website a second time, we're twice as likely to get the job. So definitely tap into retargeting. The paid online directory listings, especially Google local service ads, want to be paying close attention to that. Yelp, YP, Angie's List, House, Local Plumber, Porch.com. I've got some people testing out Nextdoor, which is pretty powerful little thing where people are talking about, what's happening next door, literally. You build a relationship in there. You can generate some great leads. Thumbtack, another pay-per-lead service, not a huge fan. Home Advisor, right? These are leads that you can buy at a nominal cost, but the quality isn't quite as high. Repeat and referral business, tap into email marketing and social media to remain top of mind, to get those customers to remember us and use us again and refer us to their friends. And then social media advertising. I didn't talk a lot about it. I don't know that it's really truly proven in plumbing and HVAC other than through retargeting mechanisms. But there's something to be said for with YouTube and Facebook advertising, you can choose your local area. You can set the demographic, right? They have a home and they have a certain amount of income, and serve your ads aggressively to them. So if you're already doing a lot of radio, you're doing a lot of TV, your cost per 1,000 impressions through Facebook advertising and even through YouTube advertising can be much less, and it can be very targeted and very, very effective. But that's when you're really at a high level and you're already into the media buying sphere. And then I just, number 8, I don't want you to forget, have a strategy to get inside your customer's mailbox, right? So send a thank you card, a physical thank you card after the service call. Put a newsletter into the mail once a quarter. Nobody's showing up in the mailbox anymore. And you can really stand out as a plumbing HVAC business by showing up in a different way. And the more you can put your arms around your existing customers and convert the one-time buyer into a repeat buyer, really the better and the more effective it's going to work for you. So this is the digital dominance method. I find the companies that are doing millions of dollars and getting good sustainable growth are doing not necessarily all of this, but doing like 5 out of the 8. And so I want you to really focus, like look at this big picture, identify the strategies that you're not doing that you could do. I promise you can see some increase in growth within your plumbing or HVAC business. So that really brings full circle the Schuler service case study that we started with. He's got a great website. It's built to convert. He's leveraging paid search. He's tapping into retargeting, doing some email marketing to his existing customer base. And $7,800 spend, leads coming in from organic, pay-per-click, Google Maps, web forms, average cost per lead of about $16. Lots of scalability, right? Lots of scalability that you can tap into and grow as you expand. Now, last thing I want to touch on is making sure that you have some tracking mechanism in place, right? Everything I talked about here is fine and dandy, lots of fun, set up a cool website, get ranked organically, spend some money in pay-per-click and other paid online advertising. But if you can't track and know, okay, here's how much I spent, here's how many leads I generated, here's my average cost per lead, you can waste a lot of money. So some tracking mechanisms I really want to encourage you guys to put in place. First of all, analytics, right? Just know how many visitors get in your website on a monthly basis, where they came from, how long they stayed, what channels they came from, paid, organic, social, direct, right? Make sure you have analytics on your website. Put some kind of keyword tracking mechanism in place. We talked about all the different keywords people type when they need your plumbing or HVAC service. Make sure that you've got some kind of pulse on where you rank on Google and Bing, especially for those keywords. Definitely call tracking. Have a track number on your website. What I recommend is JavaScript that will let the number swap based on source. So the way our websites are set up, somebody gets to the website via organic, they see an organic tracking number. So we can say how many leads came from organic. They get to the website via pay-per-click, they see a pay-per-click tracking number. So we can see how many numbers came from pay-per-click. And so you want to have that mechanism in place so you can see, here's how much I spent in organic, here's how many calls I got, here's my average cost per lead, here's my expected return on investment. And then, the final and really the Shangri-La in my mind is have a system like Service Titan that you have your call track numbers ring into, that you can say, okay, here's how many calls came in, and look at a scorecard that says, here's how much actual revenue is generated and booked through our system. And so make sure you've got that type of tracking in place. When you have that kind of tracking, you can increase your budget with confidence because you're spending $1 and getting a return. And when you're spending $1 and getting a return, you'll continue to spend those dollars as quickly as you can and scale your team as quickly as you can to keep up with the revenue. So just make sure you have that tracking in place. If you can't confidently say, here's what I'm spending, here's my average cost per lead, here's my expected return on investment, that's probably something you want to take a closer look at. So that's full circle. That's our triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right worksheet. Hopefully some light bulbs went off as we went. And really what I want to do now is have you pause, because again, the last thing I want any of you to do is walk away with some ideas. Oh yeah, Josh talked about paid search. He talked about SEO. He talked about reviews and not do anything. So I really want you to pause right now, while we're still going, and write down 3 things. Look at the worksheet. Think about what we just talked about. Type into the comments box 3 things you're going to implement as a function of today's session. Could be, I need to get some pictures on my website. Could be, I need to add a video. Could be, I should get myself added to local service ads. Could be, I need to start tracking my calls and get some kind of reporting mechanism so I can see my average cost per lead. So I'm going to pause. I really want to see in the comments what you guys are going to do. Nicole says she's going to change the title tag. Got to be more than that, guys. I mean, please don't. If you don't, so what I find is if you don't write it down and you don't make it public, you don't take action, right? And nothing happens. And that means you wasted your time sitting on this session, and I wasted my time kind of going through this with you. That's not what I want. Check how my website ranks on Google Maps. Jason says he's calling me. That's what he's going to do. I like that play. Obviously, that's great. Nicole says she's going to do local service ads. Phil says he's going to call our company. Awesome. Well, I love it. That's great outcome for us. Faye says CRM tracking, call tracking, optimize. Brenda's going to focus on links. Okay, great. Great. So good. I'm glad you guys have some actions. Ryan says he's going to pay attention to tracking numbers. He's going to get access to the Google Analytics, and he's going to consistently check the Google listings and the rankings. Beautiful. So let me close with this. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. Might be the most important thing that I say entire session. So stick with me. Oftentimes, we sit on sessions like these, and we get new ideas. And we get excited for a brief period. We get excited. We hear about local service ads. We hear about attribution. We hear about call tracking. We hear about social media leads and generating leads with social media. And we get so excited, and we go and we start to implement something. And really what we want is to take our business from this side of the hill to the other side, right? We're where we're at right now, and we want something more. We want more leads. We want more sales. We want a bigger, more successful business, right? That's where we want to go. And we get excited and we say, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go update my website, right? And so we get started on that. We make a couple changes to our website. We say, okay, we're going to do paid search. We start to do some paid search. And then we think, you know what, I'm going to do Facebook advertising. I think that's the opportunity, right? And we wind up with a lot of half-built bridges. How many can relate? How many of you would say you have a couple? How many of you would say you have a couple half-built bridges, things you started, you were excited about, but you just didn't finish? Well, really what I want for you to do is to come up with one thing you really need to get done, one strategy that you know is going to work, and complete the bridge, right? That way you can go across the bridge, you can get the result that you want, whether that was more leads, better rankings, more calls. You can come back over the bridge and you can build another one, right? And finish that bridge. And then you come back and you finish that next bridge. But often the biggest challenge is to figure out what's the one bridge, what's the most important bridge that you can focus on next and complete, and go across, get the money, and get the return that you're after. Well, we found in working with plumbing and HVAC companies, there's literally 73 different bridges you can build, different strategies that you can implement to get some return and do more. And really what I want to encourage you to do, don't try and build all 73 bridges, right? Work with somebody that can help you figure out what the next bridge is for you and build it all the way across. So if you'd like our help to help you figure out like what the next bridge is that's going to actually have an impact for you, we'd love the opportunity to talk. So if you're interested, based on what we talked about, I've heard a lot of you guys say you're going to call us. We're going to schedule times. Some of you guys already have time scheduled. Put in the comments box schedule. Just put in, schedule, because then I can look you up. Our team will reach out to you and we'll schedule a time. So put in comments box schedule. And what we're going to do when you do that, we're going to run a ranking report for you of the most important keywords in your area. We're going to get a sense of where you rank today. We're going to look at your paid online marketing. We're going to look at your website, how well it's built to convert. And then we're going to be able to look and say, okay, this you've got going well. This is where there's room for improvement. And this is the one thing we should focus on next. So if that sounds helpful, if nothing else, you walk away with crystal clarity on the one bridge you should actually build. I want you just to put in the comments box schedule, and we'll get that on the calendar. Alternatively, you can call us 866-610-4647 or go to plumberseo.net/schedule. That might actually be the easiest, because then you'll get access to our calendar. You'll be able to look at your calendar and you can pick a time that works best for you, and then just get that on the calendar. Again, it's not a hard sales pitch. Obviously, we're going to present the opportunity. Here's what's wrong. Here's how you can improve. Here's how we can help. But AA on link. What does that mean? Maybe I typed it wrong. So if that sounds good, would love to do that with you. We'll walk away with a clear plan. Here's what you can do next. Here's what you should focus on, and we can take it from there. So either put it in the schedule, in the comments box, schedule, go to plumberseo.net/schedule, we'll get it scheduled, and go into your worksheet, get clarity on what you need to do next. Let us know how we can support you. I really appreciate you taking the time. And now I'll go ahead and open up for questions. There was a lot of great interaction throughout the session. You guys asked lots of great questions. But if you have anything that's pending, that you're like, hey, you know what, I just want to know, what about this? What about that? I'm happy to dive into that with you now. Alexi says, do you serve Scotland and the UK? I'd have to look at time zones. We can. We've worked with a lot of companies internationally, like in Australia, a couple in the UK, obviously a lot in Canada. But the challenge usually is the time zone, right? We're on Eastern time zone. Our team is all in the Eastern time zone. The strategies are very similar, right? Setting up the website, doing the optimization, but the communication can be a little bit of a breakdown. So reach out to us and schedule it, and we'll determine whether it's a fit one way or the other. David says, is there any way to save kudzu reviews? Do you have a lot of kudzu reviews? There's one of two options. You could just copy and paste them and at least have them as a testimonial style review. You could take them and log them into a system like Bird Eye that can syndicate it, not to Google or to Facebook, but they can syndicate it to some tier 2 directory listings. So there are some things you can do if you've got a bunch of kudzu reviews and they're just kind of sitting there in what feels to be a wasteland. Any other questions? Let me see if I missed anything. Again, I appreciate you guys joining me. I hope you guys got great value from today's session. I'm going to hang out for a couple more minutes in case there's any questions. A couple of people asked if I'm going to post a replay. Yes, I will be, assuming again that the technology worked. So my fingers are crossed. They always are. Assuming it worked, I will get a replay out to you guys. Richard says you reached out. You can't work with us because we're already working with someone in the other area. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon how you look at it, we only work with one company in each market, right? So we're area exclusive. We work with about 160 contractors, so 160 of the cities across the United States are closed. So if we've already got something in your area, unfortunately, we can't. I will, if you reach out to me, I've got some people I might recommend. So just reach out to me. I'd be glad to kind of point you in the right direction. Jason says, great value. Thank you very much. Faye says, thank you. Good information. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Are we working with anybody in Edmonton? Jason, I'm not off the top of my head. I don't think so. So definitely reach out. Let's schedule it. Even if you're in a closed market, schedule a strategy session. We'd be glad to run the ranking report, jump on a call and give you an evaluation. So don't let that stop you. Chuck says, good webinar. Thanks for the feedback on our website. Absolutely. Thank you for being part of it. Christian just confirmed he's my sales team, my director of business development. He says that Edmonton is available. So by all means, Jason, we'd love to talk with you and potentially work together. Jason says, woo, woo, awesome. Good deal. Well, guys, thank you so much again for joining me. Would love again to schedule time to chat with you. You can go to plumberseo.net/schedule, get a meeting on the calendar. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out in Facebook or personally on the internet. If you're not already in our plumbing and HVAC marketing mastermind group, I really want to encourage you to get in there. We've got a great community just for plumbing and HVAC business owners on Facebook. So if we go to facebook.com/, I'm going to post a link to it. So hang in there, guys. I still got a bunch of you on with me. I think this is something you're all going to want to be part of. So it's the Plumbing and HVAC Marketing Mastermind. If you took the time to be on this webinar, I want you in this group. So it's a group. There's 800 plus plumbing HVAC business owners. Lots of great discussion around marketing, how to generate leads. I post all of our updated webinars and trainings in there. So definitely go there. You'll have to ask to be approved. And so just click the button. We'll get you added right away. It's a great way for us to remain engaged and for you to kind of see what's going on. Yesterday, I interviewed Sean from your home services in Tampa. Grew from zero to 2 million in a year, and then from 2 million to 4 million in the second year. So have access to people like that is extremely, extremely powerful. Let me see. I'm going to look at the questions box here. A couple people posted. You're not seeing this. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it there. Guys, thank you again for joining me. I'm glad you guys got value. I look forward to helping you guys grow your businesses, take your company to the next level. Our mission as a company is to help triple the size of 1,000 plumbing and HVAC companies by 2025. So we've got a big mission. We love working with plumbing and HVAC contractors. We want to do more of it. So we'd love to work with you and help you take your plumbing or HVAC business to the next level. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Thanks again for joining me. I'll talk to you guys again soon.